Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. We're back on the Saturday morning live stream. Every single morning, I do a Bitcoin update for the trading group, all right? Break down what's happening for Bitcoin and kind of what we see happening for the day before. So last night, I made an update. We made this flag on the 15-minute. I said, watch this flag. We could get a bounce to the upside, but look, kind of here, I mean, we were getting overbought, right? Once you're overbought, started to slide to the downside. We got oversold in the flag here. I said, okay, you either make a double top or you break out. Once you saw that these started to close below the zone and the 1 hour was just oversold, and I kept saying, watch the 1 hour. It doesn't look good to me. I wanted to short the 1 hour here. Then I wanted to short it here. Why didn't I? I kept watching the 15-minute and waiting for the 15-minute to give me some type of bearish signal, a reversal pattern, right? And eventually the 15-minute did kind of roll over here when it just couldn't get back above the zone and fell to the downside. So the 15-minute really kind of gave you that idea. I drew this yellow line just yesterday. So insane. Price action almost went exactly to where I drew. Why? Well, that's where we bounced right there. Knowing your local support and resistance can really help you understand where price action is likely going to bounce. And that's why we bounced right there at about 19,744. That was the line that we had drawn from this area here. So looking at Bitcoin now, you know, we got a bit of a cup and handle here, a known reversal pattern. So let's break down what we see. Let's get rid of our old work that we did. There was a bullish divergence there on the 1 hour time frame that we did point out. All right. One cool thing too is and then the symmetrical triangle that could break up or down 50%, broke to the upside, hit the exact measured move, which was the base here. So you're not going to know where price action is going to go, but at the end of the day, this was a symmetrical triangle, and entering the trade here with a stop loss below the previous low here at 19,744 would have played out in time. So it's like, hey, there was a 50% chance if you take it, you know, on a low liquidity Friday too, low risk, and that trade still played out and then came all the way back. So if you don't take profits, if you don't move, you know, stop losses to break even, you're just going to get hit off every time. You can't be dreaming. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say and do should be taken as financial advice. Please get yourself your own financial advisor, and do your own due diligence before getting into any project, coin, or trade. All right. So, moving forward. This happened already, so it's over. But that's how we figured out where price action was going to go. And yesterday, it seemed weird too. Sketchy times, right? The idea is to have two ideas and confirmation if it doesn't occur. So look, this to me is a bit of a cup with a side handle here, all right? You kind of fell out of the handle, fell back inside, right? And you got the shoulder, the head, and a bit of a right shoulder. Do you not? You have the slanted, inverted. You're getting tight moving averages. However, the 15-minute look is getting overbought. So we could kind of open this up and suggest that maybe we're also in a bigger handle like so. What's looking like to me is we're going to come down. The reason why I'm saying this is this 15-minute is just so overbought. Highly likely we're going to get a bit of a retracement here. Ooh, sorry, this is too small. So sorry about that. Highly likely we're going to get a bit of a retracement to the downside like this. We're right at resistance right now. If we can't bust through here, close the candle in the 1 hour, in the next couple hours, 3 to 4 hours, above 20,444, which is this resistance node here. We did break it, which is nice. So now you have a low, you have a higher high, you have a higher low. We do expect a higher high in the trend. See that mini trend? We do right now have a trend, right? That's why this higher low would have been the trend, right? Boom. And then you get out at the higher high. And you figure that out, that's the trend. So right now we're watching a cup and handle on the 15-minute time frame, right? Bit of a symmetrical triangle, overbought on the 15. Highly likely we will eventually curve back down here over time if you just go over the probabilities. Very likely we're going to come back down. Possibly do we double bottom or do we stay inside the trend? That's just the question. So today it looks like, for the next couple hours at least, looks like the shorts will be in slight control. Not a big deal, but just a little bit of a pullback. We're just going to make a bit of a consolidative pattern here. We take a look at our 1 hour time frame and, we took the dump, but we bounced back pretty nicely on the higher high with some wicks, on the higher low with some wicks. So that's a good sign. Low, higher high, higher low. I like what I'm seeing there for Bitcoin, right? And let's take a look at our 4 hour time frame. We had all that time to reset, came all the way up. Doesn't look amazing for where it is. It could stay pinned, but that's not a bullish sign. All right, when you come all the way back up on the stochastics RSI curve, but you don't really make it past the previous high that you were at, and you just kind of sit sideways, just not the best sign in the world. So we'll watch the smaller time frames, but I'm going to look at this on another chart too, and just look at the 4 hour but that 4 hour doesn't, I don't like that. Again, I've seen us get pinned up there and pump. I've seen us come right back down. Anything could happen, but the probability to me is you're starting to get into the extended zone of overbought, and you would have liked way more of a move here. Like you didn't even get through this bearish engulfing candle yet. So it is what it is, and what I've even seen here is the 1 hour could take a nasty dump down. All right, I'm just showing you because it really hasn't gone below the dotted line yet. It could be making a shallow move, but I'm just giving you the possibilities that I've seen in my lifetime. Now, I trade the probabilities, but I'm showing you what has happened, all right, and what can happen. Even though, because you're beginning, you might, that never happens. It's going to move up. Anything is possible at any given moment in time. Yeah. Once you understand that concept and handle it well, you realize that everything you're doing is a probability and nothing different. Nothing more, nothing less. So look. What I would like to see is Bitcoin just stay tight inside the channel here. Possibly a move. I don't like how that 4 hour looks. So, you have to just kind of keep that in mind. And now you have a resistance for Bitcoin right here at 20,000. We'll call it 200. 20,200 area, 180 to 220. But yeah, 20,200 is going to be your next resistance. You have to get back above that to remain bullish. So if you don't end up anywhere in this yellow box, it's likely that a short is in play. You know what I mean? So I can't believe I'm going to say it, but a possible insurance short could be opened right now. Stop loss somewhere above this high, right? And here, could wait for that 1 hour to come up one more time. But this is just an idea, not guaranteed, but just something that could be, put on the table there. Only reason is that 4 hour doesn't look good to me. So it's looming in the back of my head that we're going to get some type of pullback lower. We had the nice bullish divergence that played out, but it only gave us up to here in, So Bitcoin must put in a higher high. First, it has to get above here. First step. Once it does that, it's got to put in a higher high above 20,734, 740 area to remain bullish. If it does that, fine. It knocks out this high. I'll take it as a small win in the trend. Okay? And so that's what we're looking for. So right now I see the 15-minute curving to the downside. All right? So it looks, it's short on the 15-minute. Looks to play out. Anyone that likes to short futures, looks like a 15-minute short could play out. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I'm saying you should be taken as such. I'm just looking at what the probability is based on the stochastics and based on what I'm seeing on the support and resistance line. Resistance, 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 resistance. It's heavy resistance. You got to get a move above that. Let's take a look at our 7. 7's pointing to the downside. When both the 15-minute and the 7 are pointing down like that, it's likely we're going to get a move down. You never know, but it's likely. We look here, 20,140. This wants to curve back to the downside too. We're getting into this tighter zone. There's not much liquidity, but if there is any, it is lower, right? So you're just seeing a little more buildup of lower liquidity. This is BOOKMAP. Link in the description below to BOOKMAP. Thank you so much for anyone that jumps into BOOKMAP. I do get commissions from the links below. I greatly appreciate that. TradingView, MEXC, and anything that you find. Why do we like MEXC? Because it has the lowest fees in the game. 0% for both spot and futures. And they have some of the most popular cryptocurrencies as well as some of the smallest ones that nobody knows about. If you look at their markets and look at their changes today, look, ZER up 487%. Near Friend up 429. Up 220. Like, just coins that just do things that you never would have seen. It's like this. It's the closest thing to a decentralized exchange. Okay, so and coins I've never even heard about. Like, I still have to do my deep dive on MEXC, but just far more movement on MEXC than anywhere else in the game. And they're like the KuCoin. They're like the sister to KuCoin, in my humble opinion, right? So I always keep a KuCoin, keep a MEXC backup. You never know. With things going on, it's always good to have a backup. So MEXC, link in the description below to MEXC Global, baby. MEXC Global. A lot of people don't know about it. That's why I bring it up, because I never knew what it was. Just started, researching it and playing, getting into MEXC basically, I'd say last June. Coming up in a year now. I heard about it, but just didn't dabble. Didn't look at it. So let's take a look here. So yeah, this is, I feel Bitcoin likely to come on down. Can it respect a trend of some type? Is this the trend? Is it tight enough? It looks like it is making a bit of a trend, but we'll see. Can I open this trend up? And so I'm just being open-minded here to kind of how this pattern may end up playing out. All right. And, I'd see the shoulder, the head, and kind of the rounded right shoulder, possible of a move. But I don't like how the stochastics are looking, so it's just likely we're going to get some type of pullback here to the downside. All right. So that's my Bitcoin prediction for the morning. Short for the next hour to 2 hours. Likely to hit somewhere at 19,009 or 19,900 area, 960, 900. Get a bounce, hopefully get tight. And then, we'll see if the 1 hour can muscle through the 4 hour time frame. But right now you're out of resistance. Smaller time frames do want to bull you down. And you never know. What if the 15 minutes starts to move and it breaks this and you retest and the 1 hour bends and then the 4 hour bends and that short plays out nicely. Lower liquidity today, tight moving averages. Expect a move. When the moving averages get close, a move is coming up or down, definitely. And the stochastics are telling you that it's likely to the downside. So again, I'm hard on the probability that we're going to the downside for the next 2 hours at least, something like that. Hour and a half to 2 hours based on the 15 and the 7. And see if they can hold this trend line or come lower. So I am making a stone prediction. Some people say, oh, you didn't make a prediction. I'm telling you that I'm highly telling you that there's price action is going to go down for the next 2 hours. You know what I mean? It's already been going down, and I've been saying it earlier. Before it even went down, I was talking about it. At 20,187, 197, and then, whatever. So, and there you see it going down, correct? There's a long squeeze right there, So we call the short squeezes, we call the long squeezes. Long Island long squeeze, like on iced tea, get it? A Long Island long squeeze. So there you go, And And didn't I just say I felt price action? You know, it was simple. Anyway, you could say we're in this tiny channel here. This could hold. It's an interesting flag. Just playing devil's advocate against my last idea just to keep myself fresh. See? Just so I'm not always, oh, it has to be. Okay, and let's just talk about USDC. I know a lot of people are worried, scared. Number one, let's talk about, I got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Number one, let's go to some random place in a random chart. All right. So, USDC. All right. So, let's talk about USDC. Hi, my name is Sam Price. We should clip this out. This should be an extraction. Babe, I'm doing an extraction. USDC extraction. Okay, so my name is Sam Price, Crypto Lifer, and today we're going to talk about USDC. All right, USDC. We're going to break down some insights about it. We're going to talk about banks. We're going to talk about the money. We're also going to break down the fear and the anxiety, right? So right now, people are in fear, all right? They're in fear, all right? People are feeling fear. We know that, right? People are kind of like worried. Should I transfer my money? Some people have lost a little bit of money on the peg, right? If you had 20, 30 grand, you know, it starts to kind of add up a little bit, but it's not too bad. We'll take a look at the peg right now and see where it's at on the charts too as well, right? If I look at USDC, USD, I can take a look at here on like the Gemini chart, and it's back up to 96 cents. It did go as low on a wick here to about 82 cents. It's back up to 92. Also, the bank that went down only has 3.3 billion of a $10 billion reserve of 40 billion. So you know, it's bad, but it's not the worst thing in the world. So we're going to break down that, and we're going to kind of talk about that too as well. So 40 billion, 10 billion reserve, 3.3 billion over at SBV, all right? So it's not all of USDC's reserves, number one, all right? Number two, Circle is owned and, you know, backed at the end of the day by BlackRock, all right? BlackRock is basically one of the richest institutions in the world. And so with that being said, there's a high likelihood of some type of financial patch bay or something's going to happen here where you're going to get, they'll become insolvent or some type of backing loan. And I believe USDC will stay solvent. However, we do not know. We do not know. So let's talk about the fear now. So that's just that's the facts of what's happening in case people want to just, so you can't get too scared, It still has $7 billion, right? It still is very well backed. It still is connected to one of the biggest institutions in the world. And they already have a lot of people roped in and they know it works. So to me, there's, high likelihood that USDC sticks around. All right. Now, that's so we went over the facts. All right. So fear, right? The idea of fear is plus worry, right? People either do one or two things. They fear or they worry. What are these two things? I wrote in to myself the other day that when you worry, I said to myself, wow, what is worrying? I said, it's my neglect to take responsibility for the present situation. And I said, what? I said, that's pretty rude. I said, yeah, but you got to be hard on yourself, Sam. And I was like, what do you mean, Sam? What are you talking about? And I was really I was talking to myself, writing in my diary. I wasn't writing this down, but I was talking to myself how I was going to write my thoughts out. And I said, well, every time you've worried in life, it's usually because you weren't taking action. Like if you had a paper due when you were in school, you worried about it because you didn't go to the library. But had you gone to the library and read, you wouldn't worry. You would have been taking action. When you're taking action, you enjoy. You're kind of like, well, I'm doing what I need to be doing. So if there's any fear or worry in your life, like if you're worried about holding USDC, which a lot of people do, so they took action and they move it, right, to USDT. And we saw that a lot because Tether's peg went up. right? It took the money basically from, and Tether went up. Now, a lot of people have fears of what's going on with Tether. Today, Tether's fine. I believe we'll be able to, I'm in the crypto world, just like we started seeing the peg go to like 97, 98. We knew about this news before anyone else. Then it went down lower, but everyone in the crypto space knew first. And then as, people kind of watching figured it out. So people in my trading group will know that's another reason to be in a great trading group. You'll get access to the data and the information. You'll wake up, just look at your pinged on your phone, start talking, and you'll know what's going on in crypto. You won't have to go search 100 places and find and read 100 articles. You'll get it sent to you right away. You'll know what's happening, right? So fear and worry. When you fear, fake emotions acting real. Fake emotions acting real. All right? It's not happening, okay? Fake emotions acting real. Every single time you go into a sense of fear, you repeat after me, fake emotions acting real. And you take one breath. Fake emotions acting real. 2 breaths. Fake emotions acting real. 3 breaths. And you're like, yeah, like what was I thinking? My past self 5 seconds ago was in a state of panic, right? Over a fake emotion that was acting real. But it wasn't real, all right? You were making it real. I was making it real. Whatever. We as in our human condition, we were taking these emotions and making them real. Everything's okay, all right? Deep breaths today, everybody. Like, I see a lot of people scared and worried in the crypto space. But, what's interesting to me is that's why I like being in the crypto space since 2016 when I first started getting into BitTrex and these small exchanges. You could only trade BTC pairs. When I got in, there was no stable coin. So there was no fear of losing a stable coin. There was no fear of worry of a stable coin, right? And when Tether first came out, I thought it was like a lot of the hardcore Bitcoin people and real big crypto people, like there was just this aura that it was gross. And I was like, oh, Tether. Like even though Tether was available, I wouldn't trade Tether. I would only trade Bitcoin pairs. I was like, well, Bitcoin's going to keep going up. I'm going to trade Bitcoin, And that was when Bitcoin was, 2,800, 3,000. Also, Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash were going back and forth, and there was going to be what's called SegWit2x. And SegWit2x was going to change kind of like the way the miners mine, and they were going to mine basically Bitcoin Cash. And it was going to make Bitcoin irrelevant. And I just kept being like, nah, it's Bitcoin. Like, Bitcoin's the one, like this. And there was going to be a vote on whether they're going to fork. It was really interesting. And at one point, Bitcoin ended up winning. The miners ended up dropping Bitcoin Cash. To this day, Bitcoin Cash kind of fell. And then whatever happened to Bitcoin Cash, it used to stay kind of not with Bitcoin, but when it was, if Bitcoin was 3,000, Bitcoin Cash was like 100 or 200 bucks. But when Bitcoin went up to 50, 60 grand, Bitcoin Cash, it would have, in the last market, it would have fallen. Bitcoin Cash was a big mover, but it didn't happen in this last run. It kind of fell to the wayside. And then I see it just kind of dropping, and that connection is gone, for whatever reason. That it never stuck. So Bitcoin became the Bitcoin. So I've been through so much in this space. Bitcoin now is the one. We can see it as the big market cap. We know what the coin is, and there's no real question about that. But I was in a space, forget USDC and US Tether, where people were wondering what was going on with Bitcoin, and I was already pretty convinced and had it was my idea that this was it, and that was like, wow. So I've been through so much in the space, and we're going to be fine. And I take deep breaths. And yes, we may see banks collapse. And honestly, banking collapsing, and SVB, as horrible as it is, I don't like it, right? Largest bank failure since the 2008 crisis, right? So let's, this is something we will talk about. So SVB is the largest bank failure since 2008 financial crisis. The California regular closes SVB, appoints FDC as receiver, FDIC. So SVB focused on lending to startups, branches to reopen Monday. Interesting. I don't really. FD to sell bank assets. Chaos reported amid withdrawals. Bank shares fell in U.S. Europe fell. And honestly, like, people think that just because they're at a bank that their money is safe. Your money is not safe just because it's at a bank. You know what I mean? And this is the problem here too, and there is federal deposits insurance, but how much will it cover, right? And our government's in default too, you know what I mean? And then you start wondering, like, where is the money going to come from if the whole, if another bank went down? It starts to make you wonder. Bank of London weighs rescue for Bank of Silicon Valley, UK arm. Wow. So now you have big banks stepping in because they don't want to create the worry, because this is another thing. They're battling against crypto. This is another win for Bitcoin, right? This is a huge win for Bitcoin. When you see a bank go down and you have your Bitcoin in your hardware wallet and you're like, oh man, thank God. Like, that's Bitcoin in my hardware wallet. It can't collapse. Bitcoin, you know what I mean? The price of Bitcoin can go up and down, but it only is going to get scarcer, and more people are going to realize that there's something better than using a bank. And it's only, in my humble opinion, going to change, you know? Separately, SVB Financial, the parent company of Silicon Valley Bank, is working with investment bank Centerview Partners and law firm Somerville and Cromwell to find buyers for its other assets, which include an investment bank, SVB Securities, wealth manager, Boston Private, and equity research firm, Moffett Nathanson. So there's people that have money in these things, right? These assets could attract competitors and private equity firms. It's unclear if any buyer will step in to buy these assets without SVB having filed for bankruptcy first. Credit ratings agency S&P Global Ratings said on Friday it expected SVB Financial to enter bankruptcy because of its liabilities. Companies such as video game maker Roblox and streaming device Roku say they have hundreds of $1 million in deposits at the bank. Roku says its deposits with SVB were largely uninsured, sending its shares down 10% in extended trading. Imagine having hundreds of $1 million in deposits at the bank that are uninsured. Had they transferred half of that money into Bitcoin, at least that would have been some type of insurance. You know what I mean? Now I'm feeling that, I used to feel like money was money. Now I'm just feeling like anything that won't at least disappear is money. This is crazy. U.S. banks have lost $100 billion in the stock market value over the past 2 days, with European banks losing also $50 billion in value. U.S. lenders, First Republic Bank and Western Alliance said on Friday their liquidity and deposits remain strong, aiming to calm investors as their shares fell. Others, such as Germany Commerzbank, issued unusual statements to reassure investors. When a bank tells you that they're fine, something's wrong. Like, remember 5 or 6 years ago, you're hanging out. No one's saying anything about any bank. Everything was okay, right? So this can get people, But what I got to tell you is this. All right, let's get back. So the fear sets in. You know what I mean? And what it makes me want to do is pour more money. And look at the peg starting to drop a little bit here, pretty hard too on the morning now. Interesting, getting a bit bearish again. Here's the deal. Whenever I'm in fear or I feel a sense of fear, I take a deep breath. I remind myself that I wasn't here for the money that they could steal or that could get taken. And whatever happens, it could be a hard road. I may have had a great life. I may have to go back and forth. It may not be perfect. I may have to till the land again. I may have to work with my hands. It may not go as planned, right? But I have faith in God. And, I went through the 2008 crisis, and I saw that. And honestly, we've been band-aiding the market since then. And we all know it's been 15 years now. And since then, I've been saying to people, family and friends too, like, inflation's not going to go away. Since 2010, I understood how that the governments would continue to print money, continue to raise the debt ceiling, and that the dollar was going to continue to lose value. That's when my first sense of fear was when I realized the dollar was going to lose so much value, and I was going to work for it, and it was going to take so much of my money away, and that's kind of that got me going a little bit. I was like, how do I try to circumvent this? How do I stop this from happening? And that's when I got into gold and silver. That's how I got into crypto. That's why I'm here in the first place, honestly, for everybody here. So what we know so far about the collapse, just to give you some more data, and DAI is also depegging there too. You know what I mean? Crypto and DAI was also always a pretty stable coin. Crypto firm Circle reveals $3.3 billion stuck in SVB, billions of dollars too, which is kind of insane. DAI, USDC depegged as stablecoin pressure continues after Silicon. So, and what's interesting to me is, now this is the banking sector. They try to blame crypto, you know what I mean? Binance suspended USDC conversions due to volatile market conditions. Coinbase suspended USD conversions over the weekend while banks are closed. SVB contagion crypto firms hurt, including BlockFi, Circle, and Avalanche. Circle, $1 billion in net redemptions, since SVB collapse. On Saturday, March 11th, during Asian after-hours DAI, the decentralized stablecoin of MakerDAO reached its lowest value ever at 88 cents. Contagion is thought to be part of the Operation Choke Point, a remnant from Obama-era Justice Department policy. Tether, the stablecoin USDC, surged momentarily as the news unaffected by SVB. TradFi banking contagion. A day after the West Coast banking SVB was placed into federal receivership, and both deposits and withdrawals ceased, Circle, the issue of the stablecoin, lost its dollar peg to the U.S. dollar, prompting fears of a run on the stablecoin. Similar what happened to the wind down of U.S. Tether, UST, in the wake of depegging from Terra Luna. Overnight, it lost 14 cents. But see, T was a algorithmic stablecoin. USDC is not. It's completely different. It's a pegged. So, like, I guess they made a connection there, but they are two different things. So there's it's not like, technically not the same situation. Following the confirmation at the end of today that the wires initiated on Thursday to remove balances were not yet processed, 3.3 billion of the 4 billion of USDC reserves remain at SVB. Like other customers and depositors who relied on SVB for banking services, Circle joins calls for continuity of this important bank in the U.S. economy and will follow the guidance provided by state. Yeah. Basically saying, you know what that means? It's like, you better bail us out. That's kind of what it says, right? And that's what I hear from that. The news followed fears that the contagion from SVB collapse would also affect other crypto institutions, which it has, with both BlockFi and Avalanche also revealing connections to the distressed bank. The news prompted renewed fears that the fiat off-ramp in crypto can be choke points for the government to target the crypto industry at large. Yeah, they're going to find places where people are getting in and out in the millions of dollars. So was this an attack on SVB Bank? How was it done? What really happened? Were they made, who knows? You never know. Was someone coerced? You never understand what's really going on. Levered positions open up. Some traders are purchasing USDC in anticipation for potential 10% gain if the tokens return to intended dollar mark. These traders are betting on the gradual recovery to $1 due to the relatively cheap price. Leveraging could potentially amplify returns for these traders, as evidenced by future funding rates on Bybit, which reached as high as 0.3%. So open 114K USDC long at 87 cents. Let's go. It's hitting the fence when you're lev trading a stable coin. So crazy, right? But that's what I love about the crypto market. There's always someone to take advantage of another situation, and it always kind of balances things off in a different way. But this story is pretty big. That this is just kind of opening up. And it's definitely something that's on everybody's mind, right? I luckily don't have any USDC at the moment. I will double check it at the present moment. It's sad I do use that card, my card. I love using my card, USDC card, and you have to kind of go back and forth on that. So that's kind of the sad thing. But remember this: I believe in God, so I believe I'm here for another purpose other than money, and because of that, when I worry about money, I realize that that's not what I'm here for, and I release myself from those worries. I take a deep breath, and I realize all I have is right now, the present moment. I don't have, even later on today in the afternoon, and I don't even have tonight, right? I don't even have tomorrow, and I don't have yesterday. I have right now. That's all I have. I don't have anything else. So the second I start worrying about USDC and all this stuff, I lose the present moment. And when I lose the present moment, I lose the ability to control my destiny, because my destiny is controlled right now as I'm here. So I used to live in fear and worry. And what they would do is they would make you look to the future or think to the past in your mind, and honestly take your cerebral cortex and your thinking mechanisms and what makes you you and connects you to your core into a different part of time. So you're sitting here as a physical entity, but your mental and your emotional process is connected to another part. You're really not present. I did this for a long time, and my subconscious mind made a habit of it. So for a long time, my subconscious mind had a habit of living in the past, thinking about things that happened to me, and then worrying about the future due to the things that had happened to me in the past. And I was unable to be in the present moment. This is the true block of why I was unable to create the business that I had. And this is the true, I think, situation that a lot of people find themselves in. So when you think about all this, you have to take a deep breath. Serious. As you breathe out, but as I breathe out, I remain alive. If you stop breathing right now, if I just decided not to take my next breath, which, I'm not, but I'm just going over the biological idea here. It's over until I take that breath. Like, I must take that next breath or there's nothing happening after that, right? So the point of the story is you're always, with each breath, you defy death at every moment. It's interesting. So stay in the present moment. Release yourself of fear. It's a fake emotion acting real. It doesn't exist. You're not here for all the greed and money that you think you're going to get. You know, if you change your life financially, you will. Do not worry. Look, have a long-term mindset. I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say and do should be taken as financial advice. But most people that I studied and watched in my life that had a goal and stuck to that goal achieved it. They just had to be consistent and disciplined, right? And go over the 4 Ds that I talk about, right? Have the desire to change your life. First, you just have the feeling. It's a want, you know, I desire, this is the something that I just would just so have all my energy and focus to bring into my life. This is something that has to be brought into my life for me to feel complete. This is my destiny. This is what I know I need to complete. And you have that desire for it. And you know it's an unwielding. You can't stop this desire. Has to be. It's a checklist that has to be checked off. It's a must-have, you know. And you go from there, and then you have the dedication to continue to do it. Now you start it every day. You don't know where it's going, but you start it every day. A couple weeks go by, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Now you're in the cycle. Now you're in the zone. Then, now you need the discipline. Hey, you want to come do this on the day when you need to do that? No, I got to stick to what I'm doing. I would love to go do that, but I can't. I'm sick. I don't feel good. I want to lay in bed all day, but I got to hit this one point. I'm going to spend at least a couple hours discipline, you know. I'm lazy. I'm depressed today. I got that feeling I don't want to do. You got to wake up, splash some water in your face, tell yourself you're grateful for what you have, and get it in and change your mindset immediately. You cannot let yourself beat yourself up. You cannot stay in that negative mindset. You must break it immediately, change how you feel, and then the last part of all that is the desire, the dedication, the discipline, and the determination just to continue to do it over and over again. And I talk about those 4 Ds. So we stay in the present moment. We realize that all this is an up and down movement. Banks and banking systems. At the end of the day, we know why we're here. Because they're going to continue to print money. And honestly, with what's going on with the banks and everything else, this is a huge advertisement, in my humble opinion, for Bitcoin. So let's get back to the total market cap as this kind of sits a little bit at that peg at 95 cents. And thank you for everyone jumping on in today. And I just wanted to, just break it down. And what I'm talking about is these are the things that I use to change my life, really. And these are the things that I used. Okay? So shout out to the 619 beautiful souls in the live, 219 likes. May get the likes up to the watchers. I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you for the love. Amazing to see you all out here on a Saturday morning, no matter what. I appreciate it. So total market cap. When I look at it just arbitrarily, I'm going to delete everything and just do an arbitrary fresh look again. I don't like the profanity. It's not what I'm about. Okay. So like I showed you before, easy setups, right? Take the bar, throw it down, get your line out. Right? We know our line. We know where we want to. That's a big boy resistance zone. Okay? We want to know what it is. We want to clock it. We want to lock it in. Price note. We slap it right there. Kind of in the middle of the beginning. We know the range. Bang. We hit control. We should be able to grab both of these right off. Slap another one right where we want it to be. We hit control. And it's funny. Everybody does this differently. Like nobody does this like I do it. Right? And that's what I love about TradingView. There's so many combinations that you can just do things that, no one else does. And so we got now okay, total market cap, we got it, right? Resistance at 109. Then we came down to bounce, lost a million, a trillion. Look at the 333, you gotta love it. Crashed through 943, fell, 950 was psychological. Came back down. We're now bouncing on 860, and this kind of ends somewhere in the 867. And this isn't perfect. We'll look at it closer and like zoom in, but we're just looking at the range, at the vast range. I like to see the bottom. Yeah, 858, about 860, $860 billion, right? Is like, see where these bounce? And if you lose that, I like to just throw the smaller area in here. It's 828, and that's 700. That's 17.5 for Bitcoin. Just if you know where you're at with Bitcoin, the chart's similar to the same. So now we know the total market cap, and what we want to do is, and so far we've gotten a bounce, somewhat of a bounce here, off of 875, which is psychological, right? Like 870, 78, 875 area. Can we hold the peg? Is that funny? Can we hold the peg? Can we hold above the zone? What's going down, right? Now, what's interesting is if you took this bottom node, all right, and I've done this before, backtested it on bigger time frames, has played out. So you take this bottom node and swing it to the top node. Then you take this bottom node and swing it here, and you got yourself a hidden bullish divergence still, which tells you that you could still, in theory, end up making a higher high here. All right, now we could negate it and fall, but it's a falling wedge. Falling wedges break up 68% of the time. And we looked at this before, and you do have a very oversold daily, and now your RSI, your daily RSI, touching the dotted line. Last time definitely was a low right there. Last time was a pretty low right there. And you're getting into this territory again. Now, do you make a bullish divergence on the low side like you did here? There's a chance, but daily bullish divergence is, like right there is it's not like getting it on the 4 hour or the 1 hour. It's rare. You're not going to get it every time, So there's some hidden bullish divergence here. I do have to say, and I have backtested this theory. I know we're skipping this, but I've backtested this idea before, and I have seen it play out. So I have the time behind what I'm saying. I would never say something if I didn't know, or at least give it some probability to myself before I brought it out, because I wouldn't look like a fool. For my own accord, I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't. I'm too anal about my show. I wouldn't be like, all right, let me show some type of TA that I haven't had at least some time on to backtest and have some theory behind, because there's just no point, right? So anyway, so can we get a move to the upside on the total market cap? This is our bigger idea for Bitcoin. And you look at your 2 hour, your 2 day, and your 3 day getting very oversold as well. And you got this indecision doji with some big wicks. And when you have big wicks on the 3 day, it tends to kind of play out. We're getting some wicks here on the daily. We got them here before too, but these are a lot bigger, far more substantial. Could definitely get us a reversal back to the upside. We look at our 4 hour time frame, it's just not playing out right now the way we want it to, right? It's a little overbought. It's kind of an indecision. I have two, somewhat theories here. Are you making like this upward trending flag, which could, end up just dumping on your face? We could go to the top of the channel and back to the bottom though. So we move up, we get rejected, we come back down. We still end up like kind of holding this zone at 850, and then we bounce. There's a chance. I don't like where the 4 hour is at the moment, presently, and with all and we didn't, we wicked off resistance. It's just not the healthiest move. I have to be technically. 1 hour is in this cup and handle and wants to blast. So, I respect time frames. I'll tell you why, because I didn't always. Like right now, I would just short the 4 hour and forget about it. The old me. And then a trade might not go out. And I look back and I'm like, well. And I'd say, well, why? And I'd say, well, you didn't give the 1 hour its time, and the 1 hour clearly was pushing up to the upside, right? So total market cap looks like the 1 hour is about to make a move, which would also push Bitcoin to the upside, right? 50-minute does want to come down, like I said before, right? So it's kind of like this idea. Do you drop and then pump back out? Measured move takes you to, let's say, we'll call it, like $980 billion, and you would get above at least one resistance. So there's something brewing here on the total market cap. And let's jump back into BTC. On Binance. And honestly, people that don't think that, mentality, teaching mentality and talking about subconscious mind theory in the past and the present has nothing to do with trading, just then haven't traded long enough, because your mentality has everything to do with your trades. How you think, how you feel, how a loss affects you, how you're able to emotionally detach from a loss and realize it's just probability, it wasn't you. You know what I mean? All those things come into play as a trader. All right. So the total market cap looks a little more stable. It doesn't have the drawdown that Bitcoin had there, right? It's a little more stable for whatever reason. Its drawdown was just smaller. All right. You shrink it down more, but so still watching the sideways price action for Bitcoin. 15-minute did slump to the bottom of the pattern, like we said. So look, this we started the channel. I said price action's gonna drop. I said I hope here to my, and hold my angle, right? And lo and behold, look what it did. It did that so far. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed, but so far. 7 minutes still low, and so your 7-minute went from here to here. Now you're going to do the same thing, likely back to the upside. 7 minute. And you're just going to get tighter and tighter, and that's going to have to pick a side. To me, it's somewhat more bull pennant-esque than a symmetrical triangle, but comes back up, comes back down. 1 hour suggests that you get some type of move, and the total market cap looks pretty good too as well. Total market cap looks way better than Bitcoin. It just has, a little more of insight there. Even the 1 hour, Look at that. 1 hour looks real nice on the total market cap. Lack of bearish momentum. So suggesting a move coming to the upside. Total market cap's pushing me more to a bullish sentiment here for Bitcoin on this Saturday morning. So that's what I'm, looking for that 1 hour to make a bit of a move. But again, remember, I'm a support and resistance guy. If you can't break above and get inside this yellow box, then you're at the 4 hours is going to take over. You're going to make a move to the downside. All right. And what's the bearish sentiment? The most bearish idea? Just because, right now the 1 hour looks bullish. Waiting on that 15-minute to kind of fully fall through, but the 1 hour looks bullish. If I look like a KuCoin chart and I just delete everything. I was wondering why I made the levels though, right? Yeah, it's kind of nice. There's that short still in play. So I'll leave those levels. I like that chart. That chart's still clean. I just find any chart to draw on. It's funny. Binance USD is cool. So check this out. At the end of the day, I'm just doing a big idea is you're in some type of flag, right? You could even say you fell back in, but and you're gonna drop down to 17.9, so right, and the 4 hour is gonna take you down. Not saying this is happening. We're gonna wait out our smaller time frames, but you just, that was on 77, right, when I was there. But you have to know that this is highly probable. And if you don't get back above 20,574, 20,600, really, that's your your 4 hour resistance. You must close a candle on the daily 4 hour above this level. If you do not, if you keep it, and then the next thing you know, if this comes back down and somehow we get away with this, which and we come back up and the Stokes come all the way up and reset and they start and you do something like this, and you're still in this flag, that 4 hours is likely to dump on you. So just showing you the idea of what's likely to happen if you can't, now if the 4 hour comes down here and you come up and boom, and you used to close one, close two, and you make some kind of funky pattern, and then there's a chance that you've now negated this idea completely. And the Stokes and the support of resistance are going to tell you basically the confirmation you need. I'm just teaching you the sauce, okay? I could spoon feed you, but I could also give you, your own jar and your own spoon, So everyone, thank you so much for being here. Please comment, like, and subscribe. We're still watching Bitcoin closely. looking at the altcoins, playing really the 3S and the 3L tokens, and really just playing Bitcoin on small leverage really for the next couple of days, watching what's happening for Bitcoin, and then getting back into trading altcoins yet again. So shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here. May God bless you all. And know that you get an update not this long. Obviously, update's usually 5 or 6 minutes long, 8 minutes at the most, sometimes 10 if I go real hard. And we talk about Bitcoin, ES1, the futures market, and just kind of give you an update of what's happening between 5 and 7 a.m. every single morning in the trading group. My name's Sam. I greatly appreciate it. If you want class too, I teach class every single Tuesday from 3 to 5:30. Jump on into class today. I'm telling you right now, you will absolutely love it. It is $99 to jump into the class. It's 2.5 hours long, but I give you so much, a PowerPoint, my 9-point checklist before I get into any trade, things that will set you off. A lot of people have used what I've taught and gone on to do amazing things with their lives. So check it out. Have a blast. And I've had so many awesome people just, write testimonials about the class, about the trading group. So I'll see you when you want to jump into the trading group. Link in the description below too as well. It is $270 for 3 months. We also do an awesome deal, $330 for 3 months in the class and the class, which is pretty good. That's a 3-3 deal, right? A 33 deal. So $330, 3 months in the class, and you can pay in cryptocurrency, PayPal, whatever you want. We also take credit cards, whatever you want to do. So email cryptolifers@gmail.com to jump on in if you would like to jump on into the trading group. Really good place to learn. One thing I want to say is this. We're looking at the Bitcoin chart, right? And we go to BTC USD. And this is hugely important before I get out of here. We also called the short on Bitcoin, right? We went over it. That short did play out. If you were in the trading group, you would have known about it. We put out Matic 3S. We put out a bunch of other things that played out nicely on the short. But look, if you look at Bitcoin on the weekly, you hit the logarithmic view, and you take a look here, and you realize you had a halving here in May of 2012, right around here. You had a halving here in May of 2020. This halving right there, May of 2020, right there. And we have a halving coming up here now. They say it could have been moved to March of 2024. We have a halving coming up like right about here somewhere. Look how close we are to the halving. It's pretty nuts. So my point of the story is here, pay attention, be ready. You don't have that much time. It took me 4 years to really understand the ecosystems, DeFi, all the technical analysis things that I needed. All the technical analysis things that I needed, right? Halving was here, halving was here, halving was here. You could still see this part of the screen, which is kind of fine, but the halving is right here. But you could still see so much, point of the story is the halving comes here in March of 2024. We're a year away. A year away from the halving. It may be May, so like maybe 14 months, but I'm telling you right now, this is when FOMO really begins. They're going to do whatever they can to the rest of the world, and the markets are going to do whatever they want, and people are going to dance and sing. But your connection to Bitcoin, right? What's happening to Bitcoin, the focus on Bitcoin. For me, my focus is dead on, and I'm continuously just dead on focus for BTC, right? And just seeing the big picture that this thing is going to blast to the upside at one point. And, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. Remember, if you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. Crypto is life. Thank you. Be safe. I'm out.